Our next guest, all the way from Macedonia, kind enough to join us today, the retired four-star General Wesley Clark, who's, you know, is the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. Welcome, General Clark. It's good to have you on. Thanks for making the time today, especially for being overseas. Let's talk about Gaza, I guess, first. Just, let me follow up on what Aaron and I were talking about. I want to get your thoughts on Iran, too. But the incoming Trump administration and the conflict in Gaza and Lebanon, how do you see things changing?
I think with respect to Gaza, that probably it won't change. I think the Israeli military is pretty close to finishing that operation, and I think they'll finish it. With respect to Lebanon, I think it's possible to construct an agreement, but you've got to construct the agreement in such a way that it's different from the existing UNIFIL agreement that's been in place since 1958, where they have these blue-helmeted UN people that are trying to separate the forces. That doesn't work. You have to have something along the lines of the Dayton Peace Agreement, where you have a peace enforcement capability. And in this case, you're going to have to give Israel the responsibility for enforcing the movement of Hezbollah out of that zone. And if the UN's willing to do that, I think that's possible. But the real issue is Iran. And how you're going to deal with Iran. And I think that, you know, Iran is the source of much of this trouble. And ultimately, you're going to go to Iran. Now, if Iran makes that easy by launching a strike against Israel and the United States, fine. I think the next strike from Israel will be disproportionate. If Iran doesn't make it easy and lurks back and ducks it and doesn't do anything, I think it'll be a tough decision. I think the Trump administration will have to work that out with Bibi. Now, I couldn't predict how that's going to turn out.
I don't think the Iranians are big fans of any American president, but they particularly dislike Trump, right? I mean, there's been all this out there about they have a plot to try to kill Trump, and the Soleimani strike is certainly a big part of that. How does that play into things? And, you know, and you would think that Trump's going to be, if anything, I don't know if tougher is the right word, but he's going to be more hawkish, and Rubio speaks to that kind of a policy. How will the new administration change the dynamic when it comes to Iran?
Well, I think that adds credibility to the new administration, makes it easier to get an agreement if an agreement can be had. But if it can't be had, then it's going to force a tough position on President Trump and the Secretary of State and his defense secretary, because it's always a tough thing to launch a military operation against a sovereign state. It's easy to start a conflict. It's not clear how it's going to end. In this case, Iran's a basket case right now. A lot of the Iranian citizens want that regime out of there. So it's a ripe opportunity for, they say, a strong strike by Israel, especially backed by the United States, would lead to an overthrow of the government. I'm hesitant to say that's the fact. That's what some people are saying. But I think there'll have to be some tough decisions made, because Iran will move, I think, toward a nuclear weapon. They're very close right now. Maybe they already have it. Maybe they don't know what to do with it, because if they announce it, they're certainly going to get struck. So it's a really volatile situation with respect to Iran.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.